So my path to musical theater was pretty indirect. I started in Staten Island, New York, where I was born and raised, and I didn't have much exposure to theater or musical theater or New York City or anything like that. But my mother was a teacher, and she got these discount tickets through TDF. And eventually I wound up seeing a couple of shows. Never saw my first Broadway show until I was 21. Ultimately did see Les Mis as a young man and loved it. So when I turned 40, my wife Karen surprised me with tickets to Les Mis, and she took me into the city as a surprise, and we saw Les Mis. And as a bigger surprise, during intermission, she hands me a card that says, "By the way, I know you always want to take voice lessons. Starting next week, you'll be taking voice lessons with the lead in this show." I was kind of blown away. I couldn't believe that was even possible, but it was. The lead in the show was Ivan Rutherford. He plays Jean Valjean. He met us backstage after the show and took us onto the stage and gave us a tour, and we became friends. I did take voice lessons with him. It turns out I sing like a moose, so that didn't really work out, but we became good friends. And I got to know other things Ivan was working on, one of which was a new show entitled Frankenstein the Musical, written by an unknown book writer named Jeff Jackson, an unknown composer named Mark Barron. I got to know the work through Ivan. I got to know the promotional work through the other guys he was dealing with, and then got to know Jeff and Mark and worked with them to help promote that show. We invested in that show, and we got to promote it, and eventually we started to hawk the promotional DVD as an entree to a possible theater run. It was through me that we brought the show to Rich Forum in Stamford as a DVD. The artistic director there, Doug Evans, liked it, brought it to his new producing partner, Jerry Gehring. He liked it. Together they came to see a workshop that we were doing in New Jersey, and they said, "We want to produce this in New York." And we said, "Great." And we went for it. We invested more money. We produced the show off-Broadway in New York at 37 Arts Theater in 2007. And some folks loved it, and the critics didn't love it so much, and it didn't run very long. But it was a great show. I'm still proud of it, and the folks who created it are still proud of it. But with that, it was introduced me to Jerry Gehring, who then separated from Doug Evans, and Jerry had a new project he was starting to develop through a connection of his to work on a musical version of the film A Christmas Story, written by Gene Shepard. I was intrigued. This was a very popular title. It could be great. His partner, Doug Evans, did not want to option it with him, so I did, and we took off from there. We optioned that show. We developed that show, created a musical that ran in Kansas City as a development, in Seattle as a greater development, where we changed composers and director, and then took it off to a tour landing in Chicago, and ultimately to Broadway, where we're very thrilled and privileged to be nominated for a Tony Award in 2012. And the show still runs today in many theaters as a licensed production and as a non-equity touring production. And Jerry and I continue to produce shows. The next one will come out hopefully in the spring of 2015, and you'll just have to wait to hear what that one is. So bye.